Hi guys, welcome back. Here's our next lesson. We are going to be talking about filters. So I have a couple filters here to show you, and there's a ton of filters out there. You can buy filters that are like specific colors, so it'll be just like, it'll look like this, but this lens color will be blue or red or green or whatever, and they have different effects on the actual picture taking. I tend to avoid those because that kind of filtering can be done after the fact in Photoshop, or whatever kind of photoshopping program you typically use. So I don't typically use those. I don't even look for them. I'm not interested in them. But what I am interested in is stuff that has more of an effect that can prevent you from that can help you to make the initial shot good. Because the idea basically with digital photography is that you want to take a little blur, a smudge on here. You want to take the best possible picture that you can, and then you can, after that, you can bring it into Photoshop and you can change things. So you want to get as much information into that on that memory card as you can, and then afterwards you can add a blue filter or a red filter in Photoshop and change the way it looks. But if you do that beforehand and you add the blue filter or the red filter beforehand, it's a lot harder or nearly impossible to get rid of that blue filter if you didn't like the way it turned out. Now those filters made a lot more sense when we were using film. A film camera, once you get the image on the film, you can't really change it. You could scan that into Photoshop and then do it later, but the idea is back then is that you would take the picture and develop it, and whatever came out is what came out. You can change things a little bit, but not much. But nowadays we have, with digital cameras in the Photoshop, you can change things after the fact. So I wouldn't use those, and I don't use any kind of black and white or chrome effects inside the camera either, just for the same exact reason. You can add that stuff later if you really want to. So now, okay, so I got three filters here. This is what's called a circular polarizer, and this is called an ultraviolet. And the number here, the 58 millimeter, that is the size of the camera lens here. So see how it says 58 millimeters? 58 millimeters. So this filter will screw on to here. Now this one is a smaller one. This is a 52 millimeter. We'll talk about that one in a minute. So let's take this circular polarizer. So we're going to put this on, and it threads onto the end here. There's like little threads here, and there's threads in here. And that's that. Now, I typically have this on my camera at all times. And what it does is, it's just like polarized sunglasses. So it spins freely here, and the reason for that is it's a directional filter. So if you can think of it like lines, like this, and if you're spinning it, these lines are going to be turning. So you spin and these lines turn. And the way light works is it comes in waves. So let's see if I can take this off and I'll show you. So, see that reflection there? So if I turn this, let me bring it up here like this. So if I turn this, see how it's changing? That's the polarizer. So it can take glare out of a picture. It doesn't really affect the quality of the picture. So like the quality of the picture is the same. It's not really changing that. It does filter some light out. But what it does is you can get rid of glare and kind of clear up an image. So so that's what it does. So like you'd be able to see through glare on water better. It tends to make skies bluer. So that's nice. And with the filter on, you can still put the cap back on. Now this is a UV filter, an ultraviolet filter. So it's supposed to block out the ultraviolet wavelength. Now, it's not going to reduce reflections. This one, it doesn't have an immediate effect, but if you would, it might reduce like sunbursts, like starbursts. I don't use this one. I have it, but I don't really use it at all. I always have it off. I haven't found a use for it or a need for it, but it comes with this one, so I didn't buy it. It just, I wanted this one. I had to get this one too. And this would thread on the end of this one, just like this. So you can have 2 filters on. Now you gotta be careful. If you go too far, if, it filters out to here or whatever, you have 10 filters on your camera. Eventually, it's going to start to minimize. It's going to reduce light, and then it's also you're going to start to show up in here. So you can't go too crazy with the filters. 1 or 2 max. All right, now this one's an interesting one. This is called a neutral density filter. So what this one does is, it's a very specific use. I'll put it up here so you can see. So this one actually darkens the image quite a bit. But the idea behind it is that it darkens it across all colors and wavelengths equally. That's why it's called neutral. So what you can do though is put it on your camera. And this is going to be used exclusively with tripods. Almost exclusively with tripods. And so this one is going to be, if you were going to take a picture of like a waterfall and you wanted to get the water streaking, so you'd put this on the camera and it would allow you to have a longer shutter speed, so you'd be able to have the shutter open for 1 or 2 seconds versus like half a second. So all that water would be blurred, and I'll show you some examples of that, of what it would look like with like a blurred water picture. So that's a pretty cool filter, but it's very specific on how you use it. And this one is a smaller one, and it only fits on this lens. Now this one I have a polarizer, CPL, circular polarizer, on this, because I like the polarizers. They work really well. These filters are very inexpensive. You don't have to spend a lot of money on them, but they work really well. And all right, so that's our lesson on polarizers, and or filters rather. And our next lesson will be on the buttons on the camera, and we'll start talking about settings and stuff like that. All right, well, thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye-bye.